Hi BookTube! My name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I'm coming to you with my June TBR, my June event TBR. So I did this in May, and what I've been doing this year, well, for the last few months, is that there's a lot of BookTube events that go on, and I pretty much pick one. There will actually be two in July, but we'll talk about that in July. One BookTube event every month that I really want to participate in, and I put some books together and I do a TBR, and life is grand. So last month when I did Middle Grade Mayhem, I had 5 books on my TBR, one for every week in the month of May. This month we're going to do 8, and I do have a method to my madness. So as I was picking books for this, I picked 4 books that were not category romance and 4 books that are category romance. But I guess I should tell you guys what the event is. If you couldn't tell from the title of this video, it's June on the Range. June on the Range was created last year by the great Michael K. Vaughan to essentially read Western books. I am reading Western romances because why the heck not? And I will argue that a lot of the Western books that Michael and probably a lot of the co-hosts are going to be reading are the male equivalent to Harlequin romances. I've seen these all over my thrift store, my local thrift stores. You know what I mean? They're these small little paperback Western books that are like, they have an ad, like not an, what do you call it? An ad in the middle? You guys know what I'm talking about. Do I have one here in front of me? No, of course I don't. Oh, here's one that has something. So, you know, they're the kind of books that have these like ads in the middle, and, you know, they're focused on, you know, cowboys and fighting, and there's a little plot probably in there for a romance of getting the girl, whereas these focus way more on the romance aspect of it, of course. So, you know, there's romance in Western novels. Why not just only read romances? So when I was putting together my list, as I said, I did 4 books that are not category romances and 4 books that are, so 8 in total. But the 4 authors that I picked for the non-category are big names. Like, these are some of my go-to authors if I'm looking for a Western cowboy romance. So I will talk about those books first, along with some recommendations from these authors for other books that you might want to check out. Because obviously these ones that I'm going to mention, I haven't read yet. But these authors definitely are favorites of mine. They are like auto-buy authors for me, essentially. So we're going to start with the great Maisie Yates. The Queen. The Queen. Actually, all 4 of these ladies are queens of cowboy romances. But the book I'm going to be reading is Unbriled Cowboy. And this is the first book in the Four Corners Ranch series. So all of the 4 books that I picked for these are all first in series, which just happened to work out. I have read the first, okay, this is going to sound weird, but I've read the first 2 books in this series. They are actually novellas, and I like them. They were cute and fun. So I've read the novellas. Now I'm ready to read book number 1. I don't know what all of these are about, so I'm not going to get into it, but because I don't want this video to be horribly long. But again, Maisie Yates, go-to author. She is fantastic. Like I said, this is the first in a series. Now, if you want to go back and read some of Maisie Yates' slightly older work, I suggest the Gold Valley series by her. All of her books take place in Oregon, which is actually where she herself lives. And Gold Valley is a small town that she created, and it's filled with cowboys. Who knew? So the first book in that series is called Smooth Talking Cowboy. It is one of my favorite books. I love this entire series. It's about a group of siblings, and they're absolutely fantastic. She also writes for category. Just let me find the book here beside me. I should have been more prepared. She also wrote an offshot series called The Gold Valley Vineyards, which is a 4-book series for the Harlequin Desire line. So this is the first book in, or no, this is the 3rd book in that series, The Rancher's Wager. So this is ranchers as well, but it takes place in a vineyard, you know, wine country kind of an idea. Yeah, so, and I think this is about 3 sisters or something like that. The 4 sisters. But yeah, I mean, how gorgeous is that cover? Why? I'm going to say it for the next 6 months. Harlequin, what are you doing getting rid of the Desire line? These books are fabulous. Fabulous. I'm going to complain about that for the next 6 months. I do apologize in advance. The first book in that series in the Gold Valley Vineyards is called Rancher's Wild Secret. And it's a secret baby trope book, I believe. The next one, I mean, I cannot mention cowboy romances without mentioning BJ Daniels. And the book I'm going to be reading from her is called Out of the Storm, and this is the first book in the Buckhorn, Montana series. I did start reading a later book in the series. I got it from NetGalley last year, but I got really annoyed because a lot of those books are not formatted properly, and that's part of the reason I stepped away from reading NetGalley, is because I don't want to, not that I struggle with a book that's not formatted properly, but it wasn't as enjoyable of a read. So yeah, I will read that book eventually. But starting with book number 1 in the series, BJ Daniels is fabulous. She has been writing for Harlequin category romance forever, like for so long. And she writes not only category romances, but clearly also single title, which is what this would be considered, even though it's part of a series. It's considered to be single title. So yeah, I mean, her books are fantastic. So if you're looking for stuff to read, her oldest series, to my understanding, that she wrote for the Intrigue line was called Montana Mystique. And the first book was called Crime Scene at Cardwell Ranch. I believe I've read this one. If not, the title sounds very similar to another book in the series. But yeah, this is, and I mean, she's written a ton of series for the Intrigue line. If you like romantic suspense, cowboys, romance, you need to check out her books. Her most recent series is called The Colt Brothers, and I think there's like 6 books now. Just last week, I was sent from the lovely people on the Harlequin publicity team her newest book as of May. This just came out. Her Brand of Justice by BJ Daniels, and this is part of the Colt Investigations. Now, this is actually a bind-up. So this is a 2-in-1. It also includes Wedding at Cardwell Ranch, which is also by BJ Daniels, which I think is part of that Montana Mystique series, I think. Let me just double check to when it was originally published. That one was originally published in 2014, so I'm not absolutely certain, but I know Cardwell Ranch is like one of like her go-to locations, and most of her books are set in Montana. You know, like I said, Maisie Yates tends to set her stuff in Oregon, BJ Daniels, Montana. So yeah, so looking forward to getting to that book. Next, Dolores Foley, another Intrigue author who does cowboy romances. Her stuff, again, is absolutely fantastic. Did I grab another one? I did too. Okay. So, yeah, I love her books. So for her, I'm going to be reading the first in this isn't her newer series, I think. I can't remember. But this is Tangled Up in Texas by Dolores Foley. It is book number 1 in the Lone Star Ridge series. Again, Maisie Yates, Oregon, BJ Daniels, Montana, Dolores Foley, Texas. So yeah, so I am very much looking forward to this one. These are all contemporary romances. The BJ Daniels book is a romantic suspense. I believe it's about a guy with amnesia. But anyway, the other ones are just standard cowboy romances. So also for her, she has a couple of series she has a bunch of series that she's done for the Intrigue line. Her oldest, to my understanding, is The Lawman of Silver Creek Ranch, and the first book in that series is called Grayson, and it's a great series. There's another series by her that I've read my way through that I am blanking on the name of the series right now. I will put it right here. But I've read through that entire series, and it's absolutely fantastic. Her most recent is called Silver Creek Lawman Second Generation. So all these books are slated to come out this year. The first one, not until June. But that one is going to be called Targeted in Silver Creek. It comes out, like I said, June of 2023. So this is going to be her newest read. So if you're interested in trying out Dolores Foley, this is the first in a series, and it comes out like in a week or so. So go ahead and get a copy. She does have another series. This is a more recent one that I have from February of this year. The Lawman in Lubbock County. And this is Spurred to Justice. So yeah. I do love a good Dolores Foley book. So there is that one. And then the last author does not write category. I thought she did, but she does not. She has been published by Harlequin, but not category. She writes single title for Harlequin. And this is Country Strong by the great Linda Leal Miller. You cannot talk about, again, cowboy romances without talking about Linda Leal Miller. This is her jam. This is what she does, and she does it well. So this book I'm going to be reading is the first book in the Painted Pony Creek series. She also writes her books typically set in Montana. So yeah, I am very much looking forward to this one. This is, I think, a 3 or a 4 book series. I think the 4th book comes out. It's going to be a Christmas book coming out later this year. So yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to it. She writes not only contemporary romances, but also brilliant historical romances. So her most, in my opinion, the one that where I got my start with Linda Leal Miller was the Montana Creeds series. And the first book in that series is called Logan. And the first 3 books are about 3 brothers, and then the next 3 books are like 3 half-brothers, I think, or something like that. It's a 6-book series. I read the first 3 books. I think it's like Dylan, Tyler, and Logan, or Logan, Dylan, and Tyler. I can't remember what order they go in, but they're really great books. Very much that cowboy Montana ranch vibe to them. And then, like I said, she also writes historicals. And the Stone Creek series, I believe, is a full historical series. I know there might be one of her series that actually goes from like historical to more modern or more contemporary, which is very interesting. But the first book in this series is definitely historical, and it's called The Man from Stone Creek. So yeah, if you want more of a historical Western romance, she might be your person to check out. So those are the standalone. Let's get into the category. So I talked about this book just a couple of days ago when I did my weekly wrap-up and I showed my book haul. But this one I'm going to be reading. It's the Cara Dean Brand by Margaret Way. This one actually takes place in Australia, but it is very much so a cowboy romance. So I'm very excited about getting to this one. It is a Harlequin romance novel. Next, we have the historical. So nowadays, you don't see the historical line doing Western romances. They used to do it a lot. But the historical line is the biggest, the people who love it the most are living in the UK and overseas. And not a lot of, as I mentioned, Wild West stuff happening in the UK and overseas. So these are books that did not resonate with the readers who were reading the historical line. I loved them. I absolutely loved the American West books, but you don't see them at all anymore. But I do have a bunch of them on my shelf, and this one has been sitting there for a while, and I'm really looking forward to it. So we have Bride by Mail by Katie Mason. So this is a mail order bride series or book, and I am super excited about it. I don't know whether or not the male lead is a rancher or a cowboy, but I mean, it takes place in the West. It says Western on the side right there, so I'm going to count it because it sounds really, really good. So, and I cannot wait to read that one. I did pick up an Intrigue. I talked about Intrigue a lot in this video already, but this is Nicole Helm, who's another go-to cowboy author. Her books typically are set in Wyoming. So we have Wyoming Cowboy Protection by Nicole Helm. So there is that one. Cannot wait. A woman and a baby on the run just upended a cowboy's life. And last but not least, I could not do one of these without doing the American Romance line. So the American Romance line has been around forever, or it was around forever. It was created because originally when Harlequin first was doing books, I've mentioned this in a lot of like videos that I do where I'm showing some of the older Harlequin books, that it'll say like first Mills and Boon printing 1978, first Harlequin printing 1979, or whatever it says on the inside cover. So what was happening way back then is Harlequin was publishing here in North America, but they were getting the books sent to them from Mills and Boon. All the writers tended to be UK authors. So Harlequin wanted to start, publishing American authors. So down the line, they created the American Romance line. And these were primarily American authors with American locations. And, it was great. And this series lasted for a long time. Towards the end of the run, they really became Western. Like, it was really all of them about bull riders, cowboys, ranchers, to the point where the line's name went from American Romance to Western Romance. So I still love them, though. These are some of my favorite books. I love the small town aspect of these books. And I did pick one up off my shelf. It is from the American Romance, when it was still known as American Romance. And this is Designs on the Cowboy by Roxanne Delaney. So I am looking forward to getting to this one. Yeah. These were so good. Like, these really, really were really fun books. And I'm sad to see that they ended, but I get it, I guess. Sure. It's like anything else. Like, I really love that TV show, and now it's gone. Like, this line, the Blaze line, there's the Desire line. Let's bring that up again. They're just, Anyway, it's a thing. Speaking of Blaze, I do have some other books I want to share with you. These are just like little suggestions just to kind of show you guys if you're looking for something to read for June on the Range. But I wanted to mention this Blaze series because I could not mention this Blaze series. And it's written by Vicki Lewis Thompson, and the series is called Sons of Chance. There are 12 books in this series. The first book is called Wanted, and this is the original Blaze cover for this book. So these, if you want your romance extra spicy, these are the books you're going to go for. Clearly, if you couldn't tell from that cover. He looks awfully skinny, though. Not actually a very big fan of that cover, but that's besides the point. I think now Vicki Lewis Thompson has actually gotten her rights back from these books because they have been republished. In some cases, the first 3 books have new titles, but they all have new covers. So the first one now, if you're looking for it on Amazon, is called What a Cowboy Wants, and this is the new cover to it. So they've all got new covers. It looks like they're all independently published, which is great. But if you want to hunt out the original Blaze covers, you might want to try thrift books. I have a bunch of them on my shelves. I do love them. They're just really fun, spicy cowboy romances. You can't go wrong with that. So just for some other books here, going from spicy cowboys to Christian fiction cowboys, the Love Inspired line does have a lot of cowboy romances. This one here is Depending on the Cowboy by Jill Kemner. So yeah, so you might want to hunt these ones out as well and see what you can find. Desire, the great Brenda Jackson did a bunch of cowboy romances with her Westmoreland series. So yeah, Brenda Jackson is fabulous, and this Westmoreland series has been around forever. So this is The Outlaw's Claim, and this is Westmoreland Legacy The Outlaw. So it's like an offshot series of the original series. So yeah, these are great, you guys. Absolutely fantastic. Do yourselves a favor and look up Brenda Jackson. Her books are amazing. Absolutely amazing. I just want to show an older Harlequin historical novel to show that, yes, they used to do quite a number of these. This is Frontier Bride by Anna Seymour. But yeah. But, like, it's a great Western romance, like a very old school Western romance. This was published in 1996. So yeah, slightly older one. But I just love these old Harlequin historicals. They're just absolutely delightful. And last but not least, the Harlequin Heartwarming series. Now, I couldn't not mention this one either because I did have one of my viewers ask me a question about books that they found at Walmart, and I thought that this would be the perfect time for me to talk about that. So this is Montana Homecoming by Janine Watt. It is part of the Sweet Home Montana series. So it's a Montana, and I think that he's a rancher. So the male lead in this one is a rancher. Now, for those of us here in North America, you may have noticed if you go to your Walmarts that you see these books on the shelves, and you can see it from this green part here, like this, right? But it doesn't say heartwarming, okay? It says, I think, Western, maybe Western romance. I'm almost certain it says Western, I can tell you that. So, the Harlequin Heartwarming line does not just publish Western type stories. They also publish small town and, all kinds of things. But at least half of their books every month, I think, are Western themed romances. They only publish 4 books a month. So I think what they do here in North America is they rename them and put just the Western ones on the shelves for sale at Walmart, I think. Don't quote me. I don't know if it's all of them. I don't know if they do it every month. I don't know what the situation is. But I know I have seen them and a lot of other people have seen them. So it's a thing. But if you want, you can buy the Harlequin historicals right on the Harlequin website, like in this format. And I think you can also get it on Amazon or something like that if you so desired. But yeah, these are great. And I know now also, side note, that the historical books are now being sold again in stores here in North America. I've seen them at my Walmart. It's very exciting and I'm so glad they're back on shelves. But yeah, so anyway. That is that one. Anyway, guys, this video was long. I do apologize. I hope that you guys got some good suggestions. If you do want any other suggestions or if you have any questions, please do feel free to make a comment down below and I will do my best to get it answered for you. And I hope that you guys are going to be participating in June on the Range as well, whether you're going to read like Louis L'Amour or whether you're going to read a fun cowboy romance. Do let me know. And yeah, until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.